This video is about the first rule of marketing. I was a very naive brand manager for about 8 years before I properly understood the first rule of marketing. Back in the early 1990s, and I'm straight out of university and secured a place on a marketing graduate training program at Kimberly-Clark. It's a job of my dreams because I'm going to learn so much. But most of the time, I'm doing what I'm told. I'm creating packaging designs, forecasting demand for the factories. I'm reporting on the sales results to the higher ups. As time goes by, I'm expected to bring more ideas to the table, even make suggestions for product promotions and advertising campaigns. Of course, I'm relying a lot on my personal gut instinct and preferences, but I seem to be getting by okay. Anyway, one of my very first tasks is pulling together an on-pack promotion for the Kleenex Tissues brand. The hay fever season is fast approaching, I'm told, and apparently people with hay fever sneeze a lot, so we want to make sure they buy Kleenex. Now, I've never suffered from hay fever, and frankly, I don't really know what it is. So I'm leaning very heavily on information from my boss and some NHS leaflets that I found in the office. So I have to admit, though, I am feeling a bit of a fraud as I draft the words for a Kleenex hay fever survival guide that we're going to print out and mail out to customers. And I have no idea if the advice I'm writing is helpful or even medically correct. But I can kind of imagine what it must be like to have itchy eyes and a streaming nose all summer. So, I write some helpful suggestions like stay indoors with the windows closed and, of course, the legendary always carry a pack of Kleenex if you do go out. Yeah, powerful stuff. Anyway, despite my abject lack of understanding, the promotion goes very well. And we get a nice sales lift and a marketing share boost. So that's okay. All good, right? And to this day, I still don't really know if anyone actually read my hay fever survival guide. You didn't get instant feedback through social media back in the day. And I certainly don't know if anyone heeded any of my daft advice. I hope not. But ironically, about 10 years later, I start suffering from hay fever myself. And I often wonder if that's my punishment for those marketing crimes committed in my younger days. Because you see, the first rule of marketing is this: you are not your customer. It doesn't matter how much you know about your product, or indeed how little in my case, you are not your customer. And you always have a different perspective on the world than the people who buy and use your product. The only way to become a great marketeer, and it took me almost a decade to figure this out, is to get to know your customers' lives and minds as well as your own. To live in their shoes, to see the product as they see it, to detach yourself from any personal, emotional connection to the brand, and to develop an impartial and informed view of its true relevance or lack of relevance to real human beings. You are not your customer. It's almost 3 decades now since I wrote that hay fever survival guide. And these days I work with companies to help develop their marketing and sales talent pool, and I continue to this day to remind myself that my personal opinions and biases are of no interest or consequence to the customer. The only thing that matters is what real customers think, feel and do. And it's only after immersing myself into a client's world these days and being guided by market research where available that I may just start to believe that my perspective on the problem is the same as that of my customers. You are not your customer. That, my friends, is the first rule of marketing.